We got lots to say. We got lots to say. We're glad you're here and we hope you stay, 'cause we got lots to say. Yeah, we got lots to say. Now here's Bobby and Matt.
I feel like people judge me when they come to my house, and the studio's at my house, but it's not in the house. It's in a building on the property behind the house. But when you pulled up, there's a massive Amazon box right on the front porch. And then I feel like if there's a box or two boxes, people just judge you for not being detail oriented. So did you at all think, man, what a slob that guy is because he has Amazon boxes on his front porch when you drove up? They were scattered all over the place.
No, because at the end of the day, I have more boxes, random boxes show up to my house on a weekly basis that I haven't ordered any of those things. So I don't even know what kind of boxes. There's usually 3 or 4 boxes at my gate per day. We've got 5 kids too, so.
Who has access to the ordering?
My wife, definitely. I have access to ordering, but I really randomly will use Amazon just for simple things. I need razors. I can't get to the store. Boom, I'm going to order it, package it up with something. But, I mean, we have shoes that come to the house, socks this week. We had new sheets for the bed. Somehow the bed ripped the sheet. I don't know how. It wasn't any activity that I was doing.
You have so many kids. I was going to guess how, but okay. If you're saying that, when you go,
I figured out how that happened, so I went and saw the doctor about it. Actually, I saw the veterinarian. I got a 2-for-1 deal with my dog.
Nice.
It was great. Yeah.
I guess I wondered, but with your family, how old did a kid or does a kid need to be to have access to the Amazon?
Oh, there's no chance I'd ever give my kids access.
Oh,
to
none
Amazon.
of them have open Amazon.
Oh, hell no.
privileges. Okay.
Are you kidding me? Do you know how much random, we'd have seeds show up, and what I'm talking about is the baseball seeds. My kids are obsessed with, my boys are, baseball seeds, but the most random stuff that they go on Amazon, can I get this? Can I get that? I was like, no, you don't need any of this stuff.
So no access.
It'd be a
no
disaster,
credit.
yes.
I pulled up recent things I bought online, random. I bought Momentous Alpha GPS supplement.
Fantastic. It sounds great. Anything that has alpha in it's winning.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, it's number one.
Have you taken it yet?
Yeah. And it sounds like it's something you use for your sexual drive. It's not. It's for cognitive health.
Yeah.
Just so everybody knows.
Is that the Joe Rogan thing?
No, it's not that. But
Alpha Brain?
It's probably something similar-ish.
Yeah, okay.
I bought a 30-pound bag of marshmallows, of Lucky Charms marshmallows.
30 pounds?
It's a massive bag. And on my radio show, I offered somebody $1,500 to eat the whole bag in 4 hours.
Were they able to even
Nobody
I mean,
tried.
30 pounds of what is it, marshmallows?
Yeah, Lucky Charms marshmallows that disintegrate, though. We're not talking about chewy marshmallows.
I know, but still, that's 30 pounds worth. That's pretty intense.
No, I agree, but that's why I offered him $1,500. I wanted somebody to at least try it, and nobody did. And then finally, I bought pickleballs. I bought 16 new pickleballs. That's my recent random ordering. What do you have? Randomly, what did you buy?
Okay, randomly. Sometimes you're scrolling on the Twitter and stuff, and these ads will come up. So recently, I bought a 3D printer. I've heard about
way.
And so they've got the midline one, and then I was like, you know what, midline, okay, I'm gonna get the big dog.
Question about a 3D printer with you. What did you want to print? Because that sounds super cool, and I see toys and medical supplies. But when you see that, you think I'd like to have that because blank.
Honestly, a guy came over to my house, was working on my television, said he got a 3D printer, and he was saying, yeah, we make everything from vases to these little pots. He said, we've got all these little toys that we can make for the kids. In addition to that, they'll make anything from a scraper, a paint scraper, to, I don't know. I mean, honestly, he sold me on it. So I was like, this sounds rad. So I went on.
So it came up, though, because your phone heard it.
Yes, they must have heard it, for sure.
Yeah, because I don't get ads for 3D printers.
Right.
Got it.
So I went on, I purchased this, and of course I'm thinking it's a smaller version. It's as big as that TrackMan,
it's
stereo
it's
system.
3 feet tall?
It's massive. I was like, oops, I don't know where to put this right here. But it's awesome.
But okay, have you used it?
Well, I won't hook up to my phone and through the Bluetooth.
Well,
right
then how
now.
do you know it's awesome? How can you give
Well,
it?
because it's already got pre-programmed things that you can go in and actually 3D print. So my kids have printed out these puzzles.
So it has
My
worked
daughter-
though. You've used it.
It's worked. It's unbelievable.
Oh wow.
It's within 30 minutes. It was able to 3D print this whole jewelry box for my daughter. That was pre-inputted into the system.
What do you put in as? Okay, we'll call it the paper.
Mm-hmm.
What do you put in?
There's
so it
no
prints out?
paper.
No, but let's say you have to put in paper to get paper printed out. What do you put in that would be the same as paper into a normal printer? Is it like a chemical? What is it?
So it is this, it looks like a plastic, and it looks like, honestly, a really big fishing line. And they've got these different compartments up there with different colors. And then you put it into this little area right here that sucks it down in. And then as you print, it uses the different coloring system and just goes, takes literally 30 minutes. It prints anything, and it's remarkable and sturdy. It's fascinating.
That's legit. Over $500?
I think it was around $650. I can't believe I bought a 3D printer for the first time for $650. But then you also have to get, the accessories that go along with it. But it's blew my mind. The kids have been using it at school for some time, which kind of drew my interest to it.
What do you mean using it at school?
So they one of their science classes, they go in and they're able to 3D print. For instance, my daughter was there and they had to put together a business concept. Hers was a new type of shoe. So she did a 3D print of a shoe that she designed for her business model.
That's so legit.
And it looks like a legit shoe, like a high top, and had the design and all that. So it was pretty cool like that. So I've seen components of it, but never actually used it until now.
I just ordered one.
Yeah.
In that conversation, I just ordered one. What else you got?
Oh, so I like to shoot a little bit, but I haven't been shooting for a long time. Of course, this, full metal thing that swings back and forth. I ordered one off of Twitter.
A full metal thing like that throws skeet?
No, I'm sorry. I've already got that. It's actually target shooting.
So it throws the targets?
No, it just is a standalone target, but when you shoot one side, it swings to the other side, so you can keep shooting, and it's got 6 different targets. I forgot completely that I even ordered this thing, and of course, it shows up to my house. I'm like, what is this hunk of metal? And I open it up. I was like, oh, yeah, I got a shooting range at the house now. Let's go.
Have you taken it out?
Not at all.
You could have 3D printed one of those, though, and not even bought that
I know.
one at
I
this
thought
point.
about that now. Now I'm pretty upset with myself, but pretty stoked. I was just going to get outdoors some more.
Your stuff's way more random than mine.
It's so random.
Mine's like nutrients and pickleballs. Yours is like a 3D printer for jewelry boxes and a way to shoot away your anxiety.
100%.
So the NFL's weird right now because it's at a very boring time.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a great job of keeping it active all year. But this is even the boring time pre-draft, meaning everybody's falling into kind of their slots. We think they are. We don't really know. We know Cam Ward is going to go one of the Titans because they said we're not even going to watch Shedeur, right?
Right.
So they're not going to go Shedeur. They're not going to go Travis Hunter. So the Titans are at 1 unless they trade it. We know that's the deal. And I think what's exciting about the draft is we kind of don't know. Travis Hunter's odds have popped up to number 2, the betting odds.
Right.
But now there's really not much to talk about until the draft. And I'm watching Shedeur's pro day. And now, because there's nothing to talk about, you have to find things to talk about. And the big debate is how he pats the ball.
Of course.
So why is it bad that someone pats the ball?
A lot of people will make the argument that if you pat the ball, you give that defensive back an extra beat because they know that you're about to throw, right? So you pat the ball. But honestly, I think it's an overrated quality that people look at sometimes because everybody has their throwing motion. It's sometimes just naturally part of their throwing motion. He still has a quick release as long as the ball's out on time. And a lot of times, look, if it's man-to-man defense, that defensive back's not looking at you anyway. And then in addition to that, in terms of zone, you're always going through your progression and going through your read, and you have to deliver the ball on time and with accuracy. Now, if you're staring down a wide receiver when it's zone defense, then you're already giving your tail, right? You've got to be good with your eyes. You have to manipulate the defense, particularly the second level of defense. And when I say that, I mean linebackers to move them off spots in zone. When it's man-to-man, you just have to throw the ball accurately, have your guy go up and get the ball, or it's all about the timing. So if you throw with anticipation timing, I think that that's more important than anything else because when you watch his footwork, he's got really good footwork. He's always got a solid foundation. He throws off of a really good platform. So that's more important to me. And then it's the high-level processing. Can you process the game quickly? Can you get through your reads? Can you make the appropriate checks at the right time? That's what makes a really good quarterback. It's not always about patting the ball. I used to pat the ball all the time, but that's probably why I was on 7 teams.
Was it ever an issue with a quick, say a 3-step drop, and you're just looking to get rid of the ball fast? I wonder, do you still pat if you're a patter, do you still pat it quickly, or can that actually slow down if it's a quick three-step drop and throw? Would that slow it down?
I think it's all about your delivery itself. Some guys have elongated deliveries. So you remember Brian Leftwich. He honestly looked like he was throwing a baseball at times. And then you got guys that have really compact, short deliveries, and they might pat the ball, but it doesn't matter because that ball's coming out. Even on three-step drops, if that's kind of part of your routine and how you throw the football, you're going to pat that ball just because you're not even thinking about it, right? It's something that's muscle memory. You've been doing it forever. Now you can work on it, and you'd always try to because coach would say, don't pat the ball, don't do this. But more importantly, it was about, well, am I throwing the ball on time? Is it coming out of my hand? Or is it actually slowing down the ball getting there because it's taking too long for that to happen because you're patting the ball?
I've never heard of patting the ball being so negative so many times as the last couple of days, because this is kind of the down period of even within the draft.
Right.
So they're picking apart
Right.
everything. Were there any ticks that were found about you that maybe you even developed while you were a pro that either you saw or someone else saw that you had to change?
I constantly had to work on overstriding because I had a baseball background. Baseball's such a different motion, particularly for pitchers, right? You're coming off a small mound, you're striding out, and your stride length is going down that mound. And so and also the motion of your arm. So there was times that I would get too far spread out and get out on my front foot, and that was just something I naturally was able to overcome and play with throughout my career. However, when you'd see it, you were constantly working on that in the offseason. In addition to that, it was ball security in the pocket or when you become a runner, because a lot of times quarterbacks, particularly back in my time, and it's not even that long ago, when you take off running, you were running because you had to. It's not because you wanted to. And so ball security, you'd get loose and you're just not used to carrying the ball like that. And then inside the pocket itself, something that was always harped on for anybody that's working in the pocket is two hands on the pocket, in the pocket on the ball, because a lot of times what happens is we get lazy and you'll see your offhand kind of come off that ball, and that's when strip sacks happen and bad things happen.
Would you know that, or would someone have to watch and tell you things like your offhand is off the ball?
I could recognize it, but there were times when coaches would come and be like, Cass, we got to get that hand. And it was just, once again, it could be a clean game, but there was multiple times in that game where I took that offhand off the ball in the pocket, which a guy got close. And I was lucky enough to get it, or a strip sack did occur because I was being lazy with my ball security in the pocket. Some of the guys that do it the best, I mean, Matt Stafford, I played with him in Detroit. He was fundamentally so sound, but he would have two hands on the ball in the pocket all the time, and it's something that we drilled constantly.
Is
So
there any
it's
chance
little
that would
things.
slow down the delivery though? If you're locked down with two hands, even fractionally, you're holding with two. Where if one hand is off, I feel like you can, you know, pull back and release quicker. Or is it so fractional it doesn't matter?
It's very fractional, but at the same time, it goes back to the patting part, and that's why I think people sometimes make a big deal out of it, is if you naturally pat the ball, sometimes that offhand is usually just in a comfortable position near the ball because you're getting ready to start your delivery versus having it there, and it's almost like you're pushing that offhand with the ball back to start that delivery instead of patting.
I'm curious about self scouting. I probably a year and a half or so ago, I found a couple people in my business and radio, and I said, "Hey, I want you." Two people I respected. I said, "I want you independently. They didn't know of each other. To I'm going to pay you to listen to my show for 2 weeks straight, and I want you to develop a plan to beat me, as if you were going to start a new national show. I want you to identify every weakness I have, and if I were paying you to find my vulnerabilities to take me down, I want to read that report." And so I paid two different people to do it. They didn't know of each other, and they spent 2 weeks listening to every second of everything that I did, and they both developed a plan to beat me. And what that allowed me to do was to see those holes and fix those holes. And a lot of the things they were actually aligned on, which was good because that meant I needed the work. And although I have a gigantic ego, because you have to have one in this business, I don't have an ego that hurts me in this business, because I know I have a lot of work to do always. And I'm always developing ticks that I need to work myself out of. And so that was me self scouting. That was me hiring somebody to break me down, to find my weaknesses so I could plug them up. As a player, would you ever grab film of yourself or have someone else do it to find how you could better yourself by finding where your weaknesses were?
I think that it's an ongoing process. When you have coaching staff and even when you're going through the season, all they're ever doing is usually pointing out your weaknesses. They're really focused, hyper focused on what can you do better? How can we solve this problem? Even with our drill work when we start throughout mini camps, going into camp, everything, we go back in, we critique that film on a daily basis. We watch film in the morning, we go and watch the practice right after so it's fresh on your mind. And every part of that is coaching and critiquing. How can we get better? Whether it's a footwork drill, whether it's two hands on the pocket, it could be particular reads. So you're getting instantaneous feedback almost on a daily basis. And so you do have to have thick skin because I think there's a lot of players out there that take all constructive criticism as criticism. And they go into this little hole and they're too prideful about the fact that they're not willing to understand the coach is just making a point. He's not trying to attack you personally. He's trying to make you a better player. And it might come off a little harsh at times because when you get called out in front of a team, it is one of those moments where you look in the mirror and you go, gosh, I don't want to feel that way again because you let down your team, and particularly in games. That's the hardest thing is, at the quarterback position in particular, but any position, if you make a big mistake in a game that really swings the momentum and you end up losing that game, whether it's an interception because you were lazy with your read or you didn't have ball security, whatever it might be, you missed a check at the line of scrimmage that resulted in a 10-yard loss, and now you got to punt and give them an opportunity to go down and win. You're your harshest critic, and you've got to be able to deal with that. And so I always took that type of coaching as a way to get better, as hard as it was to swallow at times.
Someone, though, had to instill that in you, meaning there's an understanding at some point of the person's not trying to take me down for the sake of them going up. What they're trying to do is make me better. That's a hard place to land if you've never had that instilled into you.
Mhm.
Because, and also I imagine if you've been really great your whole life, 8th grade, senior in high school, you're not getting a lot of criticism and you get to the next level and all of a sudden you're being critiqued. That's probably a different tasting dose of medicine.
It is, and I think because of the way my career went, as you said, I was successful growing up playing sports. I was recruited by all the big time programs, got a scholarship to USC. But when I showed up at USC, I got my humble pie pretty quick. I was redshirted my first year, sat behind Carson as a backup, never really played some different positions, but I had to face criticism all the time, and I always felt like I was going to be the next in line. And so I had to learn how to deal with adversity. And there was times when, quite honest with you, I would blame the coaches. They're not seeing this. Oh, I was with the twos, and everything was external. You're right. And then all of a sudden you start to realize, look, all this stuff is happening. I've got to figure out, I got to take some of the shoulder the blame a little bit, understand how to make myself better and not play the blame game. And I think that was something I really started to learn in college because there was a lot of difficult days that I went through, particularly mentally, where I wasn't where I wanted to be, wasn't achieving what I wanted to do. I was sitting there kind of wasting away. And it was, how am I going to become better today? And that's just kind of the mentality. And then I also took the effort approach. Like, screw it. Like, I can't worry about all the rest of the stuff. All I can do is worry about myself and how I can get myself better today.
I think that's there's a line of quitting to being good, and that line of realizing that you can control you and that everything coming at you isn't because they're against you.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you go good to great, when you can actually take feedback that doesn't feel good and turn it into good.
Right.
Because I think we've both been in situations too where the attack is coming and you understand the attack is personal and it's not to actually make you better.
Mm-hmm.
It's for a reason. The attacker has some sort of but then when you can differentiate and understand that the people that are on your side are just trying to make you better, and this uncomfortableness is like any other uncomfortableness in life. Like if you grow, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, mentally, emotionally. If there's any growth, it hurts.
Right.
If you're 12 years old and you have a growth spurt, it hurts. If you read a book and you're growing emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, like that is difficult. That's time. So any growth hurts, but it's understanding the difference in who's trying to hurt you and who's allowing you to hurt so you can get better.
Yes.
The practice thing is interesting that you bring up because listen, I tapped out at high school football. We didn't film practices. When did practices start to get filmed for you? Because I feel like that would be a whole different ball game. Like I feel like I'd practice a lot harder if I knew there was a camera on.
Right. It was honestly, when I got to college, you would film every single practice.
Any in high school?
No, we just film the games.
Yeah, same with
really,
us, yeah.
right? Yeah, they got the terrible footage up top.
Top
and
of the
you watch it, yeah.
bleachers. Yeah, yeah.
And you come in the next day on Saturday morning, you got donuts laid out, and you kind of watch the film, and your coach is yelling at you a little bit. But then when you get to college, it kind of becomes that professional type setting, right? They're going to critique every single thing you do. You're going to talk about it. You're going to diagnose it. You're going to try to learn through the film. And you can learn so much by just watching yourself on a daily basis. And the other thing that I really benefited from was watching a guy like Carson Palmer, like his mechanics, how he handled himself, his different footwork. I could watch that and then try to emulate those things as well. So when you watch somebody doing something at a really high level, I always learned a lot from that as well, watching film. So even in the offseason, I'd go and watch some of the most successful quarterbacks of the previous season. What are they doing well? What routes are they completing? Why are they being successful? Is it because they're getting through the reads? Is it concepts? What might it be that I can start to apply to my game?
I would ask if practice was more intense because it was always being filmed. But then I was thinking, when I did a show like Dancing with the Stars, and they recorded practice the entire time because they were looking for any nugget, not just in the practice, but any sort of drama, anything to make a storyline out
Right.
of. And the first like 3 days of practice, you're very aware there's a camera there. But then the camera's just there and you're just on with your normal life. And like I wanted to win, I strive to be better at everything I do just about. And so naturally, I work very hard, but that extra camera intensity wasn't there any longer because there was a camera there. It was
Sure.
just what I put on me.
Right.
My assumption is that is a bit how practice feels if it's being recorded. At first, you're like, oh, I got to be so precise at practice. And then either you're a precise person or you're not. You kind of forget that the camera is there.
Right. It's naturally what happens at the the college NFL practices is they film it. And so you just get used to that routine is you know that it's just another tool, another mechanism for them to use to go back, evaluate you. You can evaluate yourself. And we spend so much time watching film. And also now with the new technologies that they have in these programs where you can break down third down from the distance of 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 10 plus, and start to learn that all these teams have these specific defenses that they run in this down and distance. And so it's also a tool that really helps you. You can watch all their blitz packages, all their overload blitz. And so it prepares you to how to protect yourself against certain blitzes, where to go with the offensive line. So it's really fascinating when you use film to your advantage, how much you can learn out of it.
Technology itself is fascinating in preparation. My brother-in-law is one of the coaches on the Arkansas softball team. And so going up and just working out with them a little bit or hitting balls, but they have a cage, a pitching machine, and they can emulate the movement and the pitches of the pitchers they're about to face.
Seriously?
So, yeah. So it's a computer. And
Unbelievable.
if they know she throws 26% rise balls,
Yeah.
or they can program it for the batter there. In baseball, they can do this. They have I have a golf simulator with a big screen, but in baseball, they can have a pitcher. Let's say you're up against Randy Johnson. So they put a 7-foot guy up,
Right.
and they can emulate his fastballs, and do it at the ratio that he does it.
It's unbelievable how quickly it changes too. Because even by the tail end of my career, they started to bring in this program where you'd put on, it's like an Oculus, right? And you're sitting there and it has the defensive side of the ball there and it's got your guys on this side, but you can watch the film as if you're going through your reads or making your calls at the line of scrimmage with an actual defense in front of you that looks real. So it's just another way to visualize and see defenses and get more reps and time on task. And this is all something was new to me. I was like, this is incredible.
That's a big Jaden Daniels thing. Like he did it at LSU, and then when he came to Washington, he was like, I must have this here.
I remember him talking about that.
Yeah, we talked to him about that on this show. We do have Bruce Buffer coming up, who is the ring announcer for UFC. His line is,
It's time. I hope that was right.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. That's right?
Right? That's right.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
So before we get Bruce, we have a game called Who Said It. Bruce is known for his iconic "It's Time" that he yells before a UFC match. So as you can see, this has all been redacted, so I do not know what the lines are going to be.
Oh, great.
So I just had the setup here. So Kevin is going to go through some of the most infamous quotes of all time, and we're going to see if we can guess who said them. Are we getting different ones, or we get the same ones?
Different ones.
Okay. So he'll read 5 for each of us. We'll see how many we can get. All right, you want to go 1-1, or you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's
And then
first?
Can Reed or Brandon over here keep score over there?
Oh, I got score too, buddy.
All right.
I may have a
You
couple
sure
extras.
he hasn't seen this? By the
No,
way?
I
No,
said no.
I literally, this is the page. I don't want to cheat because it's not fun for me.
Okay, good.
I have
good.
the actual one.
Dude,
Good. I bet you're super competitive, like in board games and stuff like that.
I want to win everything,
Yeah, 100%. I can
Yes.
see that.
but I don't want to win anything not by being awesome.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Be awesome. You're
Okay.
up first.
Okay, one question for you guys. Do you want me to read it as they said it or read it like as bland and boring as possible?
Just read it straightforward.
Yeah, just read it.
Just read it. Not as an well. If there's an accent on it though, that gives it away.
That's what I'm saying.
Just read it as you,
Okay.
normal, and we'll just try to figure it out.
Okay.
Who's first?
Bobby's first.
I'm doing 5 in a row.
Doing 5 in a row.
Go.
Practice. We talking about practice?
Okay, that's Allen Iverson. Practice. We're talking about practice.
See, yeah.
Yes. Okay. One.
Number 2. When you're rich, you don't write checks. You don't write checks. Straight cash, homie.
Oh, the back part is Randy Moss.
Yep.
Oh,
I wouldn't have got that from the beginning. When you're rich, you don't write checks. But straight cash, homie, I got Randy Moss. And
Okay.
then I mooned the camera fakely with my fake pants.
That's
Exactly.
perfect.
2
Yes.
for 2 so far. Number 3. You play to win the game. Hello, you play to win the game.
You play to win the game. Hello. Okay.
I got it.
This is not for you.
Yeah.
I know. I just got it in my mind.
I can see him.
Yeah. Who do you coach for?
Well, the Vikings in Arizona. Are those correct?
He might have at some point, but not with this quote.
Ah,
Mm-mm.
crap.
Colts,
You,
right?
Raiders. Colts. God.
Nope.
It's not Jim Mora.
No,
Is that who you're thinking?
Yeah.
it's not.
No, it's not Jim Mora. You're
not-
thinking of practice.
Yeah.
It's because Jim Mora is an old white guy. This is a black dude.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly who it is. He did coach for the Cardinals and Minnesota.
Yeah, and I just can't
Mm-hmm.
think of his name. I'm not
5.
going to accept any help. I'll miss it.
Okay, Herm Edwards. You were getting there
No,
too.
he wasn't with.
Golly,
Who's I'm thinking? I was
He was on
thinking
the
of
Jets
Denny
when he
Green.
said this quote.
I'm thinking of that's who I was thinking of. I was not thinking of Herm Edwards.
Who were you thinking of, Matt?
Denny Green.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's who I was
Yeah.
seeing in my head.
That's
Because
100%.
he's Arizona and the Vikings.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I
So
missed
we
that one straight
completely
up.
messed up.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
And
so
he was trying to, I don't know why he's trying to help a guy he's competing
I
against
know.
because I feel insulted that he feels like he needs to give me charity. Secondly, he was giving me wrong charity.
Yeah.
So maybe he
completely
wasn't
wrong
charity at all.
I was like, he was that.
yeah, he
a
was
game
trying
plan.
to sabotage me. All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
Number 4. You will never see any player play in the entire country.
Tim Tebow.
Okay.
You will never see any player.
That was.
Play.
I knew he'd get a college one, no problem.
Yeah,
easily.
yeah. That's
SEC.
up. That's up
I
on
was
the
like,
wall.
hold on, I gotta hear this one again.
Yeah.
Read it again. But that plaque is up on the wall on the Florida football complex. If I'm saying that.
Yep.
Really?
You
Yeah.
will never see any player in the entire country play as hard as I will play for the rest of this season.
That's right after a
trying.
loss. After a loss. Yeah.
Well,
And they
at
end up
least
winning the
he's
national
gonna play
championship.
hard.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. And by the way, these aren't all football, just so we're clear.
I figured when I got the
Yeah.
Iverson one.
Iverson.
True. I forgot about
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Okay. Number 5. I've always said throwing a club shows you care.
Okay, so I don't know this one, but I'm going to context clue this one. I've always said throwing a club shows you care. So it would either have to be Fred Flintstone or a golfer.
That's true.
True.
I'm going to
Pretty
remove.
accurate.
I'm going to remove Fred Flintstone. Throwing a club is somebody who's going to be. But it's got to be a big golfer. So there's only a few that would
Yeah.
ever.
It's definitely a golfer.
But for a quote to last, it's going to have to be Tiger or Phil or Jack Nicklaus.
Huh?
Do you know this?
No, I have no idea.
I'm
who
just going to
this
go
is.
Tiger.
It is John Daly.
Son of a gun.
Oh,
Or
John
John
Daly.
Daly.
John Daly, yeah.
God
That he
dang
would
it.
have definitely been the obvious answer.
That is
in
like the
one.
most obvious John Daly quote, probably.
Gosh, this is
I know
great.
John
I'm
Daly,
not
too.
going to
That's
be.
why I was like, it's an Arkansas guy.
I feel
know.
like I'm not going to be good at this game. Oh, come on, babe. Give me one.
So 3 out of 5.
Got it.
Right?
Really
3
good.
out of 5.
Really good.
Bobby
Denny
got 3
Green.
out of 5. Okay, Matt, you're up.
Denny Green. Thank you.
Number 1, do your job.
Bill Belichick.
Okay, you gave him his own coach.
I know.
If
Hey,
you didn't give him
Boston,
my,
I
baby.
gave you an Arkansas guy.
Boston,
it doesn't
I gave you
matter.
an
If
Arkansas
you didn't
guy.
give him my wife, I'd have got that one. You gave him his own coach.
I tried.
Yes, my guy.
Go ahead.
Couple layups.
How
Got a
about
couple
this
layups
one?
in here?
My name's Tom Brady. Who said that?
Matt Cassel.
exactly.
Got it.
Go ahead.
Okay. To be the man, you have to beat the man.
To be the man, you've got to beat the man.
Oh, this one's like the easiest one of every single one.
Really?
Yeah.
This is one of Bobby's favorites.
This is, yeah.
Charles Barkley.
What?
Wrong. It is, Bobby.
So,
It's Bobby Bones.
no. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Woo!
Oh, Ric
Ric
Flair.
That's
Attaboy.
right. That's right.
Son of a gun.
All right.
And
One
I
out of
did
two.
Charles Barkley.
That's close.
So close, yet so
Okay.
far away.
Number 3. The ceiling is the roof.
That was my roofer yesterday coming over to check
Oh,
out.
you have an issue after the storm?
A little bit.
Our yard hasn't been mowed, and I mean I don't mow my own yard, so I'll put myself there because it's been flooding and storming here, so you can't like do it during a storm apparently. So yeah, I feel you. Anyway, get the question
The
here?
roof is the ceiling?
Yeah,
No
The
idea.
ceiling is the roof.
Ceiling's roof. No idea.
Michael Jordan.
I wouldn't have got that.
At halftime of the North Carolina game when he said that. Went viral. About 6-7 years ago, maybe.
Wait, he
Said that
he
at
said
North
it
Carolina?
as the older Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got 1 out of 3 so far.
Yeah, I'm really struggling.
Yeah, he's a
Okay, 1 out of
Alright.
3. All right,
Not
here we
coming
go. I am the greatest. I said that even before I knew I was.
I am the greatest.
I don't know it, but if I were to context it, if I were to context it, I know who I would guess, but I do not know it.
Usain Bolt.
No, but
I would. I mean,
That's a good guess.
that is, yeah.
yeah.
I would have guessed LeBron.
Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
That's a tough
better
one.
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could have given me like sting like a butterfly, or I mean,
well, that's too obvious. I already gave you do your job.
but if he would have said "sting like a butterfly," that's not it.
I know that's the wrong quote too. That would have really thrown people off.
All right.
Okay, last one here. I love me some me.
I love me some me. Gosh, I know this quote.
I know the quote.
All right, go ahead. Tell me because I lost. I'm awful.
It's T.O.
Yep.
I found a picture
Oh
of T.O. and I sitting at a random charity
Oh yeah.
like 15 years ago. I don't know what we're doing together, but there's a picture. And when I played ball with T.O. a few months ago at the Major League Baseball Celebrity All-Star Softball game, it's the first time I'd ever met him in my mind.
He's an impressive human, like impressive specimen of a human.
I watched him hit a home run with a softball slow pitch in a baseball park. Like not the home run. I hit a home run, but it was small
the
fence.
smaller fence.
Yeah.
They brought it in.
He hit it out of the baseball field.
He's a freak of nature.
It was wild.
Yeah.
I threw with him one off season. He was like 41 at the time, and I don't know if he was trying to make a comeback. What he was, he came out there, and I was like, "Oh my god, this guy is an absolute freak of nature. Like he could still run incredibly fast, great hands, big physical. I mean, he was a beast."
When I think of T.O., I think of when the Eagles, there was a contract dispute and he's doing sit-ups.
Oh yeah, with the media
with
outside
the media
of his place.
outside of his house.
Yeah.
that
Do
was
you guys
the
remember
greatest
that?
thing
Oh, yeah. That was
Oh, yeah.
great.
Hey, that was a good game.
Yeah, that was fun.
I liked it, especially because I won.
Yeah, you crushed me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so far off with some of my guesses.
And you got a Bill Belichick question.
Woo!
That was a
Thank-
layup.
Yeah, that. Thank
I had to
you.
give him one layup.
I needed a few more.
I
What,
know,
what
I'm
would
sorry.
if you had to have a quote attributed to you, even if you make it up right now?
You really put me on this.
I
What,
don't know.
what would
would
your
it
quote be?
Well, mine, I did a whole book on it, which
Oh
is
shoot.
well, mine's easy.
Well, now yours is easy. What's the
Kevin,
title
would
of your book?
you know what mine is? Mike, if there were a quote,
Yeah.
what would it be?
Fail until you don't.
No, fight, grind, repeat.
no,
Same thing.
fight,
Same
grind, repeat.
Same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like there are 3 stages. There's the fight. There's the grind that nobody sees while you're doing the work. The fight, everybody says they want to fight. They want to get started. The grind is all the hard work that nobody sees that actually matters. That sometimes you fail and have to start back over, and that's the repeat. So fight, grind, repeat has been the
Love
thing.
this.
But that's easy. Like I've had that.
Yeah, you've had that.
Yours would be like, why did I buy this printer?
Why did I buy this printer today?
What's the deal?
Mistakes make you learn.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Okay, keep
okay,
it simple.
Whatever you want. man.
Adversity. Through adversity comes advancement.
Okay, see, there we go.
Boom.
Is that
How about
yours?
that? Yeah, fine.
What is it?
No, not fine.
Yes, I like it. I like that quote.
I think
I've
that's
used
great.
that quote.
Yes.
Through adversity comes advancement.
I think it's an excellent quote.
Wow, that's good.
Exactly, and
Well,
he's discounting himself over here.
I was discounting. Well, I was just like, gosh, I haven't really come up with my life mantra yet.
What about, and just bear with me,
I'm bearing.
what about sting like a butterfly?
Yeah, that doesn't really make sense. But have you ever been stung by a butterfly? No, me neither.
Can you get stung by a butterfly?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right, we'll come back with Bruce Buffer. It's time. Next. Hey, Bruce, thank you for the time, man.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We were talking about you before you came on and talking about a lot of the things that you're involved in. And I want to get to that. But one of the things that I had mentioned was I wonder if you workshopped any of your, or, It's Time is like what you're known for. But did you have like other versions until you landed on It's Time, where it's like, it's time to do it? I don't know. Did you try other stuff?
No. Actually, what happened is that at the beginning of the show, I used to say, it's time to begin the Ultimate Fighting Championship, like that. And then when Dana took over the show back in 99, I went in for what I call the Godfather meeting. We had a little head-to-head about everything going on. And he preferred I didn't say that at the beginning. And he told me about one announcement that I made that was one of his favorites, which was when Tito Ortiz fought Evan Tanner in Atlantic City at a previous fight. And he asked to keep that same tempo, which was perfect for me, because to me, it's not what I say, it's how I say it. And I like to be quick to the point, bam, bam, punch, punch, get it in. Every morning when I wake up, I had a habit, and still do, of looking in the mirror and saying, it's time, meaning like, it's time to be the best I can be. It's time to have the greatest day I can have. So I never was phrase driven, because I managed my brother, the legendary Michael Buffer, and I helped trademark that phrase, and together we marketed it to where it is today. Every announcer wanted to have a let's get ready to, or be a phrase driven announcer. I wanted to stick with just, again, not what I say, how I say it. So it was about 7 years into the show that I started saying it's time at the main event, because I figured the fighters have been training now for 8 to 10 weeks. The fans have been watching for 5 hours, give or take. It's all culminating into this main event, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time. This is when it goes. So then I first did it then, and I realized it was catching on in Brazil about 2003, when I went and I did it in front of 20,000 Portuguese-speaking people, and the entire arena said it back to me at the same time, which was amazing. And I thought, oh, wow, then something's going on here. And now it's honorably so and humbly so, and it's the greatest compliment in the world that pretty much everywhere I go now, they repeat it back, along with many of the other things I'll say, like, this is the main event, or and now. And as an announcer, it's a very fulfilling experience to hear that come back at me.
Bruce, I mean, I watch these events, and you obviously set the tone for them, but how much time do you have to just utilize to working on these guys' names? Because there are so many names that I'm sitting there like, how does he announce that so flawlessly?
Thank you again. Appreciate that. Here's the thing. I don't rehearse. There's a rehearsal voice, and there's an organic voice. So I like to feel the energy of the crowd. But the one thing I do, because it takes me 3 to 5 hours to prepare the fight cards that I bring in. And actually, while I'm doing the fight cards, I'm actually absorbing all the information. The UFC is a very well-oiled machine, and we have sound files that go out to everybody of the fighters saying their names. So I listen intensely, and I write them phonetically on the cards. But as I write them phonetically, I'm absorbing them in my brain, and I'll say it a couple times to myself, so that when I go out in the octagon and do it, boom, let it fly. And sometimes before a show, John Anik, who's probably one of the finest commentators in sports, he and I will go back and forth to make sure we're totally in sync on the name. So I'm saying it like the commentators are saying it. So we do it right.
You made your debut back in '96. I was looking at some old video. There's no video online. It's weird to say video, but I'm old enough that we had video at one point. So back in '96.
I'm older than you, so I remember VHS, so it's all good.
So back in '96, but then I also was reading about you training and you having a black belt. Which came first?
The black belt or the UFC?
Yeah, like being a part, like being announcing, fighting, or you training to fight?
Oh, I've been training in martial arts since I was 12, and I've attained 3 black belts. when I was younger, growing up in Malibu, after moving there from Philadelphia when I was 15, I started training with Chuck Norris's fighting partners, and we would just spar, fight, and surf. I mean, that was my growing up. I never even lifted weights until my 20s. I mean, I just concentrated on surfing and hundreds of push-ups and some curls and all that. But fighting has been in my blood since I was born. My dad had me watching boxing, every Saturday, Sunday, the whole bit. This was part of our lifestyle. I've always been into fighting, always been into the martial arts. And when I went to the first UFC back in 1996 in Casper, Wyoming, which was UFC 6, which I did not announce, I realized this is my world. And I had my brother announce 3 of the events, Michael, and I had to pull him from the events because he had a huge contract with WCW wrestling, which he loved, and he couldn't have continued at the pace the UFC was going. And it took me about a year and a half to convince the UFC that they needed me in the octagon, that I would help them. I'm a brand builder, and I had a lot of media contacts working with my brother and building it. And I realized that this was a spectacle back then that needed to be refined, but I realized it was going to be one of the biggest things in fighting sports, if not the biggest event in fighting sports. So I knew that was my world. I wanted to get into it. And long story cut short, convinced them to make me the announcer. And I said, I'll do everything I can, out of pure loyalty to the brand to help build this and be more than just an announcer for the company. And that was the best poker hand. I'm a big poker player. That was the best poker hand I ever played in my life to get into this 29 years ago.
It's unbelievable. And being a fan of the sport too, could you talk about what's your most memorable event that you did the pregame or pre-fight, announcing for?
It's really hard because I've announced thousands of events. So I have many, many favorite events. I could coin a couple for you. Obviously, historically speaking, the finale to the first Ultimate Fighter series, when Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner fought each other in the main event, that was probably a pinnacle right there because, as I always like to say, Spike TV made us and we made Spike TV. There was just, it went from a 4 share up to like a 12, give or take, which you, of course, understanding TV ratings know what that's like. Mm-hmm. And it was an immediate explosion. The show became a hit. We took off. And when Dana White and the Fertitta brothers bought the UFC back in 99, I realized at that point that we had a chance to become and fulfill becoming the biggest sport fighting event in the world with their guidance and financial backing and business acumen. So that was a big event. UFC 100, when Brock Lesnar fought Frank Mir, was a big event for me. I was being egged on by everybody for 8 months, thanks to Joe Rogan, to do it. I mean, I have my 180 and 90 turns and all that stuff people coin. And Joe's like, well, can you do a 360? Right. And suddenly I was being egged on by the internet and the fans, which thank God for the fans of the UFC. They're incredible. And I pulled off a 360, jumped up and spun 360 degrees and said Brock Lesnar's name. So personally for me, that was, a high moment. But, every time I think that there's the best show ever, then 2 or 3 months later, another great show happens. I mean, UFC is providing so much entertainment, and it's amazing. It's like if you ask me what the greatest fight is, very hard to say. I could name a bunch of them.
With UFC and MMA becoming more embedded in pop culture, a few names come to mind. First, it's probably to me like Chuck Liddell, and then it's probably like a Conor McGregor and a Ronda Rousey. Like those names end up piercing not just MMA fans, but touching people who are just general sports fans or even just into pop culture. Who have been the fighters that you've seen that have kind of transcended the sport to bring more people back into the sport with it?
Well, you mentioned key names there. Ronda. I mean, women's MMA became what it is, let's face it, because of Ronda and her rise to fame, along with all the other women that have fought so gallantly in the octagon. And it's amazing. I love watching the women fight. They bring it all every day, as do the men. Conor McGregor, obviously, a big boost to the show. Chuck Liddell. George St. Pierre, probably one of the greatest fighters ever to enter the octagon. Loved and respected internationally. John Jones, being, as Dana White says, and I'll have to agree with Dana White, the GOAT, one of the greatest fighters, if not the greatest fighter of all time. When he fights, if he fights, and I think he will fight Aspinall, Tom Aspinall, come sometime this year, that'll be probably the biggest fight ever. Then you have others that have brought in a cross culture of people, Habib Nurmagomedov, bringing in tons of fans from, Russia and all that, and all the areas over there. It's there's just so many, but you did mention key factors. I mean, there's every couple years, 3 years or so comes along an it factor fighter who's got it all. Both the way they fight in the octagon, the way they present themselves outside of the octagon. I measure fighters not just for the way they perform in the octagon, but how they handle themselves with the public, how they are outside the octagon, because I truly believe in role model images. We're craving role models these days in the world for young people to follow, and I think it's very important that key fighters or famous fighters, if not all the fighters, realize that they are role models for young people and they should handle themselves in the best way possible. Upcoming people, Paddy Pimblett, out of the UK. He's a very hot and upcoming fighter who has a big fight against Michael Chandler this weekend. Again, I could go on and on and on. There's so many personalities driving the sport.
Do you think now the perception of what the UFC has changed dramatically from when you guys began, from like the brutality of the sport, that it's so much more accepted in our culture now? Like everybody buys in and the pay-per-view and everything else. But back when you probably first got started, it was people's perception of it was much different.
Oh, my perception of it was different too. Even though I understood the fighting, the term mixed martial arts wasn't even coined until about 6 or 7 years into the event. In the beginning, again, we get back to that. It was a spectacle, right? It was blood sport. It was like, what style is going to beat what style? So it needed to be refined, and in turn, it was refined. And right now, what you're dealing with, and I'm proud to say I'm part of a sport that went from beginning spectacle to mainstream sports, and it's respected worldwide now as a result. So it's a definitive difference, right? Most definitely. And I think it's very well needed. Eventually I think you're going to see mixed martial arts in the Olympics, because really without the elbows and the knees probably wouldn't be allowed. But, you take judo and boxing and wrestling, I think they have taekwondo, but if you put all those together, you have mixed martial arts. Right? So eventually it could become an Olympic event. I would very much bet on the fact that it will be.
I'm curious about It's Time Cologne, because and you can go to the website, It's Time BB, which is It's Time Bruce Buffer. But like, what does it smell like? And then how involved in the smell process? And then what's the goal of what you want it to smell like?
Well,
he's got one with him. Yes.
There it
that
is.
one right here. Well, yeah, because I haven't even put it on today, so let me just give it a little bit. I've always liked, Calvin Klein Obsession was a cologne I used to wear all the time. I don't like to walk in a room and people go, whoa, what does that person have on? So very simply, I wanted to create a sensual, charismatic cologne, subtle, that women obviously would love to, smell when you're around. Men, of course, appreciate it too, and not be overbearing. And there's a company I work with, my partners in England, and as far as being involved in the process, I would receive, the coffee grounds and 3 or 4 different scents after we talked about what I wanted to put together. I love the vanilla scent and the whole bit. And my partner Kristen and I, we did the flavor test, or the scent test rather. Excuse me, not flavor, scent test. And we picked the one that worked out perfectly, and we came up with that, and we just came out with the new Iconic, which is another one that's in a black bottle. And I was happy to say that when it first came out on Amazon, it was a top seller on Amazon. It still sells extremely well on Amazon. But at itstimebb.com, thank you for quoting the site, there's not just the cologne, but there's a whole line of toiletries there. Because I've always been very big on taking care of myself. Women take care of themselves for us. As men, we should take care of ourselves for women, obviously also for ourselves. And grooming is a very key part. So smell right, be right, stay right.
Man, I'm going to buy some of this stuff.
Very involved in the scent process. Very involved in the scent process.
Yeah, now especially that you put it on in front of us.
I mean, I know I can smell it through the camera right now. It smells fantastic. But this guy's also, he mentioned it before, but you're a legit poker player. Like, you've played in some major tournaments. You're at the main table. Can you talk a little bit about your passion for poker and how you got into that?
Yeah, well, I'm a very competitive person. I think creative too, but competitive person. And when I was 9, my dad taught me how to play poker, how to play blackjack, and taught me at the horse race. He said the only way to follow a horse is with a shovel. Don't bet on him. So he was just telling me not to go make it a habit of betting at the track, which is a fun day for a day. But I'm not a race better, with respect to all the people that are, of course, because horse race is incredible. As a matter of fact, I just agreed to announce a huge horse race coming up that I have to keep a little quiet right now. But you'll see in May on NBC, which I'm pretty proud of. Poker is a mental game. It's a competitive game. It's a game of skill. I call it BSC, ball skill and confidence, and you need a little 20% luck factor to win. But I love the competition. I love reading the people at the table and the personalities involved. And playing in the World Series of Poker, the WSOP events, is something that all poker players who play tournaments aspire to have a chance to do and love to do. It's the Super Bowl of poker. I played in an event which was the $50,000 high roller last summer. And it was against, normally the main event has like 8,000 or more people in it, which I've done very well in the last time I played it. I made day 5 and placed 476 or something. But in the high roller event I entered last year, which was my first tournament I played since COVID, because I've been so busy, I final tabled the tournament and I came in 8th. And it was 172 players. They're all the best players in the world. Phil Ivey, Daniel Negreanu, Helmuth, they were all in the tournament. So it was a real achievement for me personally, and a lot of street cred to make that final table. I one time was said to be by cardplayer.com the top 10 best. I'm not big on the word celebrity, to be honest with you, because I think we're all created equal, but it said top 10 best celebrity poker player in the world. And the other people in there were Ben Affleck and Jennifer Tilly. Gabe Kaplan was number 1 from Welcome Back, Kotter, who's a huge cash player. So I love poker. It keeps my competition going and love winning money, you know?
You mentioned that you and your brother worked together. You guys have worked together for a long time, but you guys did not grow up together, right?
No, we're long lost half brothers. We met each other when I was 28 years old. I saw him on TV. Again, being a huge boxing fan, and my dad and my brother Brian and I, watching boxing all our lives. Out came this handsome, debonair, James Bond looking individual with that famous 5 words, "Let's get ready to rumble." And when they chironed his name on the screen, Michael Buffer, I'm like, whoa, who's this? Right? Because I own telemarketing companies in my 20s and 30s. And before the internet, I never saw my last name in a phone book in the United States. So it kind of really struck me funny. Long story cut short, my dad never told me that he had been married at the age of 20 when he was going over to serve in World War II. It was a brief marriage, and he came back, a divorce ensued, but a child was born. And last time he saw that child was when he was 2.5. And Michael was raised under the name of Huber by foster parents. Great, as he calls it, leave it to beaver upbringing. And when he went in the Army at 20, they said, your birth certificate says you're Buffer, because he was never formally adopted. So they said, you're not Michael Huber, you're Michael Buffer. And had that not happened, and the events that led him into being the legendary greatest, announcer of all time, as I like to say, and most everybody believes, we wouldn't be sitting here talking right now. Because when he did see him on TV, and my dad called a local arena here in Los Angeles, the Reseda Country Club, left a message for Michael to call him back, and Michael called him back. They got together for lunch, and it turned out to be his long lost son. And we all got together, and we got along famously. Everybody got along great. And 4 years later, I sold 2 companies I was doing incredible with, but I was burned out, not happy with what I was doing. And I had an epiphany, and I said, Michael, I need to become your manager and your partner. I want to make you richer and more famous than you ever dreamed, and put you everywhere in the world, and TV, make video games, toys, this, that, the other, trademark this phrase properly. He had never even made a hat or a t-shirt at that time with the saying on it. And I said, I will sell this, quit with the money I have in the bank, and make all this happen. He said, how are you going to do all that? I said, I really don't know. I said, but I'll figure it out. If I'm going to give this up, I'm going to make it happen. And that was, 35 plus years ago. And now we're here where we are today.
It's an unbelievable story. I mean, if you think about it, and then when you guys met, you guys obviously hit it off. it's one of those things. I've got 2 brothers. I can't even imagine that, but going into business with them. And then my question is, do you guys, how often do you guys talk about different like phrases? Does he ever critique you in terms of your performance or vice versa? Are you guys like that? What type of relationship do you have? Like, do you guys bust balls a little bit? Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have a great relationship. It's he's very supportive of me. I'm very supportive of him. I said, "Do you have any tips?" Way back in the beginning, is, you know what? Watch yourself on video. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. That'll be your teaching aid. So otherwise, can't offer you that much more. And I just believe that I needed to go out and get, as you guys know the term in this business, reps. Get as many reps as I have. I look back to when I started at UFC 8 in Bayamon, Puerto Rico in 1996. And it's like, no. It's completely different. So it just builds from there. I never wanted to be Frank Sinatra Jr. I wanted to create my own style. And I told myself that if in the first 3 years I don't create my own style and be respected for what I do, I was going to give it up, which I would have. Right. But it went the path that it went. And I'm very happy to say, I'm thankfully and hopefully respected by everybody for exactly what I do.
UFC
So
3.
no competition, no busting balls, just total support. We kid around once in a while, but that's all.
UFC 314 is this Saturday, and I know Michael Chandler a little bit. He lives around here. He's been over. He's been on the show before, and so I think he was really looking forward to the past fight he didn't get to have because of an injury, but he's going to fight Paddy the Baddy. To me, that's the most exciting fight on the card. I mean, you mentioned that earlier, but speak to that about Chandler specifically. Like, if he wins this, is it renewal for him to? Because again, he's an older fighter at this point. If he loses the fight, is that kind of the end for him being a part of the big card?
Michael Chandler's the type of fighter, win or lose, he puts on the best performance that we all respect in some of the most exciting fights you'll ever see. So I never pick winners in fights. May the best man or woman win. Michael Chandler, he wins his fight against Paddy Pimblett. He's back in the mix. Paddy Pimblett wins his fight to Michael Chandler. He's higher in the mix. So it's not the end of the career definitely not for Paddy. And I don't feel for Michael, because Michael's such a true warrior, octagon warrior, that, everybody wants to see him fight. He's a highly likable fighter, respected by every UFC fan. I don't know who doesn't respect him, except other fighters, as they like to talk about each other when they're going to go to war. But this is a big fight for Michael. There's no question. That first round of this fight's going to be a tell-all, for sure. Most definitely. Paddy's hugely confident. This event is stacked from beginning prelim to on. The fight between Bryce Mitchell and Gian Silva is one that's very highly anticipated, as is Chandler. And, of course, the main event with Volkanovski and Diego Lopez.
So before you go, I want to make sure everybody knows it's timebb.com for the Cologne. But also, if you want to get a cameo, video and audio, just go to Bruce's website. Go to brucebuffer.com, and you can get one of those as well. And then there's also Puncher's Chance Bourbon. Now, I'm not a drinker, but it says award-winning, so I'm assuming it's got to be pretty good. He's got it right there.
Over 20 platinum medals right here, and we've got a variety of it. The video, and I'm very proud of the bourbon. You can go to puncherchancebourbon.com and order directly for yourself. Sorry, I didn't mean to shill right there. The videos, real quickly, is something my partner Kristen and I love to do. The thank you notes we get at brucebuffer.com, we get requests for weddings, a huge amount of requests each week. Introduce you like a champion in the octagon, which I do on the cameos. Birth of babies, you name it. The requests I get are pretty wild, but it's a lot of fun, and I love making people happy. So I love doing audios and videos.
Bruce, we appreciate the time. Hope you have a great rest of the day. We're big fans, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Kevin, Mike, I really appreciate it. Sincerely.
See you, Bruce. The Masters going on this weekend, so let's talk golf here. What's the best round of golf you ever played? Do you have a best score?
Best score? I'm an average golfer, but I did shoot a 78.
Oh, so jealous. I never broke an 80.
So, I mean, that has always been my goal. Just give me one time. And I think it truly has only been one time. I was at a course called Ohoopee down in Georgia. Fantastic place. Go down there. I get invited. Don't really know the group too well. I knew one of my buddies that I got the invitation from. So we go down, and I tell them, I'm a 12. I played out of my mind. They were so pissed off.
One of those days, huh?
One of those days.
Yeah.
And I had no apologies for it. I was like, guys, look, this is what it is. 70. I was hitting putts,
That's sick.
chipping. It just felt It felt so good. And then the next day it was back to myself. I said, I told you guys.
I'm a 12 as well. Somewhere, when I was doing Rich Eisen, one of the guys was like, "Hey, what's your handicap?" And I was like, "I don't know. You can look it up." And my GHIN, my GIN, is like 12.6 or something. And so my best round ever is at 81. And if I would have bogeyed the 18th hole, I would have shot a 79. And it was that.
Oh,
Yeah, it was that. It was that where I ended up shooting like an 8 on a par 4.
Right.
Whatever. And it was only because I got tight going, I'm about to do it.
right.
Yeah. So I've not broken 80.
Isn't that a crazy mental sport? It's like the mental grind that you have from hole to hole, let alone the skill that it takes. But you get on a roll and you're feeling that, and then you're starting to count strokes. The worst thing you can do is count strokes.
I know. And I do.
Because it takes one hole where you're like, dude, I've been par, birdie, par, triple bogey, triple bogey.
I mean, 4 holes in, I'm starting to go, all right, I'm doing, if I keep this pace up, yeah, that's tough.
And then reality strikes.
Biggest celebrity you ever played with? Coolest celebrity?
Coolest celebrity. You know, I'd say one of the coolest celebrities I've ever played with was Jerry West.
Oh, that's cool.
It was out in California, and I got the invite, and they knew each other somehow, some way. And we played a whole round at 18, and what an absolute stud. He was like 72 at the time, still in incredible shape. Said he woke up every morning at around 4:35, got his workout in, ate well, all that stuff. But the dude, his mind was incredible, and he could play golf. And just some of the stories he had about him growing up, his day and age, and also the legends of the game that he played against. It was a really cool experience.
That'd have been a cool day just to hear the stories. And on a day like that, you don't want to play so bad that it affects like your attitude.
Right.
So you're just praying you don't play horrible. If you play pretty bad, that's okay, because that happens. You play really great, that's awesome too. But it's those days whenever it could be a real special day, you're just going, just don't fail me, body. Don't fail me.
It's
Muscle
so
memory. Don't, because, yeah, it's, and then you start to feel embarrassed, or at least I do. Like if I'm playing really bad with somebody, I start to be embarrassed. Mine, I'll cheat. I played a couple times with Jordan Spieth, but the first time I played with Spieth, and he's obviously a professional golfer, we bet $100 a hole, but
Really?
I had to give him 100 if he birdied, and he had to give me 100 if I parred.
I like that.
And so,
But did you get strokes?
no strokes.
Oh, but you said you're a 12. He's a scratch golfer. He's taking advantage of you.
Well, I didn't want strokes. I wanted to play. That wasn't the purpose. The purpose for me was
Right.
he already given me an advantage, right? Like a stroke a
course.
hole, basically.
Yeah.
So that's, a stroke a hole.
How'd you make out?
I lost $100
Oh,
on
then
the
you played great.
last hole, and he was like, "I don't want your money. We just spent a whole day doing this and shooting content." I was like, "No, you'll take my money, or the story's not complete."
Right.
Like you must have
I have to
the
pay you
money.
the money.
So that was cool because to watch him, and nothing about his game. And again, I've been lucky to play maybe 3 times at this point because we play like a par 3 course together as well. He doesn't swing that hard.
Mhm.
It doesn't. I should rephrase it. It doesn't look like anything he's doing has extreme intensity on it.
Right.
It looks so easy and smooth, even next to him. But it is not. And it is so precise. Like wild to watch the control those guys have on that tiny ball and the control that I don't have. The funniest is Ray Romano.
Oh, you got to play with Ray? He makes me crack up all the time.
Have you met him?
I have not met him.
It's the same person, and he's hilarious the whole time. And it doesn't stop, and not in a way that's like, dude, shut up. We get it. He's so like warmly funny the whole time.
Yeah.
So that would be like my coolest, where it's just watching him do what he loves, which is golf, but watching him do what he does naturally, which is just be nonstop hilarious
Right.
for 3 hours, even when he's not trying to be.
See, that's a gift within itself. The one guy that I played with right around COVID was Nate Bargatze. Did I pronounce that right, the last name? And he's actually really takes his golf seriously. He wants to win. He does this. But what a cool guy. And this is right before he really, over these last few years, has just blown up. But it was right before that, and he is funny as all get out as well. But probably not to the same way that Ray Romano is.
Yeah, Ray is like loudly funny.
Yeah, he's not. He's like very concentrated on playing golf. He wants to do well, and he's got that dry sense of humor. So he's funny, but it's just if you're playing golf, you better be ready to play golf.
What's the nicest course you've ever played on?
Nicest course I've ever played on. I'd have to go with Bandon Dunes. I thought that was the coolest course, and just it was beautiful. You're right on the Pacific Ocean. They've got 6 different courses there. It's an experience within itself, but Bandon Dunes was unbelievable. It's up in Oregon. How about yourself?
Probably, I'll go just because I've seen it on TV so many times. I played the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, which was super cool.
Yeah, Pebble Beach is pretty
And
strong.
There are just holes that are burnt into your head that
Right.
you've just seen so many times on television.
Mhm.
And when you're playing it, you're like, whoa. You just can't be taken aback to the point where it affects your game
Right.
because you're like, I don't want to mess up on this hole. I've seen it 72 times over the year. So playing that tournament and having free access, it's like for 3 days, because there were 3 courses. Spyglass was awesome.
Spyglass is great.
And aside from the history of Pebble Beach, Spyglass is probably a cooler course,
Mm-hmm.
but the organism that is Pebble Beach makes it the coolest course.
It's probably because I played so poorly when I went there that I was just like, not my favorite course.
I can see that.
You know, it's reflective of how you felt that day. If you play semi well, you have a different feeling about the course.
If you'd played terrible, you'd be like, I hate Jerry West.
But yeah,
It'd
100%.
been the-
He's like, quit holding me up, kid.
you ever been to the Masters?
Never been to the Masters. I rock the gear all the time because my brother goes down, and I act like I've been there. And everybody's like, oh, you've been there. I was like, no, never been there. I need to get down there. Have you been to the Masters?
Yes, I'd like to. With you allowing me to do this, I'd like to give you the most name-dropping story ever.
I love name-dropping
Thank you.
stories.
I love them, too, when people give them.
Honestly, I really enjoy them.
Okay. So I've been to the Masters once, and one of our guests on this show, Andy Roddick, was like, hey, I'm going. Like, it still is one of our best friends. We don't talk as much as we used to because we live states away, but he was like, I'm going to the Masters. I got 4 passes. You want to go? And I'm like, yeah, of course I want to go, because we're going to go for 3 days. And he played in that, the par 3.
Right, the par 3
where you wear,
event,
yeah.
for sure.
So he did that. And so it was me, Andy, one of our buddies, and John Legend in a house
This is awesome.
for 3 days.
This is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Is John Legend as cool as
Yes.
he comes across? Because every time,
coolest.
like, just the smoothest talking,
The coolest.
incredible human, it seems like. Just everything that I dreamt about.
It couldn't be more normal and nicer and cooler. And the beauty of it was, one, we would go, and again, I've only been once, so I'm not an expert on what you do when you get there, but everybody runs and puts their chairs down on a green, because once that chair is there, they can go wherever they want, but no one can move that chair. That's their chair. So you have like your little master's chair. You go out, boom, once it's there, that's your spot. And so we didn't do that because we didn't know to do that. We didn't have chairs. We just thought, we'll walk around. Well, if you wanted to follow like Tiger, or you wanted to see Tiger, it was difficult because, man, the folks,
Oh, man.
it was a parade wherever they went, Tiger, Phil. So we went and we sat on a green, me, our friend, Andy, and John. And we sat on a green. It was on the back 9 and maybe whatever, a par 3. And we just bet which of the golfers would get closer to the hole, $100.
That's awesome.
That's what we did.
That actually made it super entertaining.
We just
I bet.
sat there and bet money
Yeah.
the whole time with the 2 golfers to come up, $100, who gets closer. And then if it was so close we couldn't tell, it would just be a wash.
Carry over.
Yeah,
Carry over.
but and we also played ping pong, and then John would just sing at the house.
Private concerts. Amazing.
Like, he would just have his laptop open and it's obvious he's a singer, but he also loved to sing. And I just remember thinking, this is crazy. Like, I'm playing mini tennis with a former #1 in the world, and I'm here sitting on a couch next to a Grammy-winning singer who's just singing for an hour at a time on his computer, like just typing up stuff. We'd watch like sports at night, go to the Masters in the daytime. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I got nothing that really compares to that.
And the great part about it was, it's been probably 8, 9 years, I don't know, 10 years. You can't have phones in there, so nobody has a phone.
That's what I was going to ask you.
So
Isn't
nobody
it super
stopped
buttoned up?
anybody for pictures. So Andy wasn't going to stop for pictures. John wasn't going to stop for pictures. There were no pictures, so everybody could just move as they would. And when those two, they're famous,
Right.
they wouldn't have to worry about people going, hey, can I get a picture? Everybody just lived. It's pretty sick.
It's a little different than the Phoenix Open. Have you ever been there?
I have not been.
Oh,
but
my God. I went last year.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it is like, it's a nightclub during the day that starts early and does not stop. And I mean, people talk about the exact opposite of the Masters. No phones, no music. You can't even lay down on the hill. I had a buddy that said his wife laid down on the hill for just a second, like leaned back. Guy comes up and says, the Masters wants you to please sit up. So like that, there, it is just full rage session. There's like a DJ booth in one of the things. I mean, people are throwing shit on the golf course. I'm going, what is going on right now? It's a great time. It's a great time.
Yeah, that hole, is it 13, the famous hole, whatever it is, where that looks fun. I've had a bunch of friends who have played that hole in like the pro-am leading up to it.
Yes.
That's cool.
It's pretty cool.
Cool.
I mean, the people watching is unmatched.
I mentioned a couple weeks ago I didn't have a favorite NFL team because I didn't grow up with one. In Arkansas, we didn't have an NFL team. Most people fell to the Cowboys because Jerry Jones was a former Razorback football player, won a national championship at Arkansas, and Dallas was close. But ever since everybody was a Cowboys fan and they were winning so much, I would not allow myself to be a Cowboys fan. So as much of an NFL fan as I am, I don't have a team. And I said, hey, I don't have a team. I don't want to be on a front runner, but also don't want to be on somebody that's just going to be terrible forever. Like, who should I pick? And we just threw it out there. Kevin, have you heard from anybody?
Yeah, has anybody responded to that?
I haven't heard directly to myself from anybody, but I went on your Instagram, the NFL Network Instagram that posted the clip, and we've got some feedback from fans, but also a mascot.
Oh, there's a mascot that followed me. The Indianapolis Colts mascot followed me.
Yes.
I wonder if that's why.
Well, it is, because he commented on yours, I believe, and the NFL Network post and said, where do I send the gear?
Oh, let's go.
Oh, you're going to get a mascot? What's his name?
Blue, I believe.
Blue? He's obviously a Colt.
Yeah, he's the.
Yeah,
you would know
big-
the mascot. Yeah,
Of course.
He's not sending me a mascot outfit. He's going to send me like Colts
I think
stuff.
he's going to send you a mascot.
He's going to send you gear.
That's going to be awesome. You're going to have to put on the headgear.
So would you? Do I need to reply?
Yeah, because I've tried to reach out to him multiple times, and I can't DM him unless he follows me. I'm trying to get him to follow back, but
Yeah.
I'm not cool enough, I guess. His name is Blue, so Blue, if you're out there and you're listening, give me a follow back. Let's set this up, man.
I'll just message him
Okay. Well, there you
Holler
go.
at us, Blue.
because he does follow, and I wondered why is the Colts mascot following me? So okay, so far the Colts are in the lead. For
Colts are in the lead. A lot
are
of
in the lead.
Raiders fans, though, I will say that.
like
Ooh.
fans.
Fans are like, come on, join the dark side, join the dark side.
Oh, you look good
It's
as
so-
a
A lot of
Raider
Raiders.
Nation.
It's so far away though.
Yeah, but Vegas is fun to go to. Let's be honest.
Not anymore.
Is it?
Yeah, we'll take Bruce with us.
Yeah.
We'll
Now
play
we
some
can
high
we can
roller
stay at
tables.
Bruce's house.
Yeah, guaranteed he gets comped everywhere he goes.
So, in this final segment, I have a top 5 list of players who I think belong in a boy band. If we were creating an NFL boy band,
Okay.
at number 5, Travis Kelce. He's the confident one who does all the talking in interviews.
Yes.
He's, in his mind, 100% the hottest one, and he's the first one to go solo. Like later on, he breaks off and goes solo first. as
And
well.
definitely a great dancer too.
Yeah. So
Like he's got all the qualities you look for sure.
in my NFL boy band, Travis Kelce. Next up, Justin Jefferson. Now, why? Well, he's the fun one that actually knows how to dance. There's always one that's really good at dancing that has like a background in dance.
Yes.
And Justin Jefferson, I mean, he's the gritty. That's him.
He is. He actually invented
Yes.
a whole touchdown dance that my kids do.
Yes.
He's taken the world by storm.
Next up, Christian McCaffrey. He's the pretty one.
I could see that.
He's the pretty boy lead singer.
Yeah,
he's
you
the Nick Lachey. He's the Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, I like that.
Even though JC Chasez was really the heart and soul of NSYNC, like Timberlake was the face. He's the
you need
Nick
a
Carter.
face. You need a face.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey
Yeah.
is our face. Every mom would say, that's my favorite. Every guy would secretly like love him, but have to say he hated him.
Yeah, I don't like him, but you
Yeah.
listen to the song all the time when nobody's in the car.
Jordan Knight. He's the Jordan Knight of this group. Next up, CeeDee Lamb. Now, CeeDee Lamb,
CeeDee Lamb,
he's the smooth one that's got like all the drip.
right?
Like he's the one that wears the clothes a little different, but
He
he's
does do that.
fashion icon. Like he's the one that people look
Yeah.
at and go, yeah, that dude is the style part of that boy band. Can still kill the dance routines. Probably at times is shirtless on the album cover too. Like
For sure. You got to have at least completely unbuttoned.
some abs are being shown
are- yeah.
by CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And my final member of my NFL boy band is Joe Burrow.
Oh, I was gonna say I could have guessed that
Because
Joe
every boy band needs a bad boy.
You need a bad boy. You need different color hair.
Yes.
You know, the different suits, the swag, the drip that he comes along with.
He's the Donnie Wahlberg
He's it.
of New Kids on the Block, but of our group right here. He like smokes a cigar in the music video. He wears sunglasses inside. He's too cool to dance. Everybody else is dancing, and he's kind of like, nah, I'm good.
He's solid. That was a solid pick right there. I was definitely gonna say you better have Joe Burrow in there.
That's my NFL boy band right there. Tell me that wouldn't. I don't know if they can sing, but tell me that wouldn't. Well, I don't really.
What do you
Well,
think?
that wouldn't
would
do much, but still,
Yeah.
I like everybody's.
I like the
comp.
dynamics right now.
Yeah, me too.
we've got some good comps right there.
Yeah.
Solid in all different phases.
We are done. We appreciate everybody for hanging out. If you don't mind, go over and subscribe to the show. That would be super cool. We'd love it. I don't know what feed you're listening on, or if you're watching, go over and subscribe to the Lots to Say podcast, if it's on Spotify or iHeartRadio or Apple. Thank you so much. That's Matt. Thanks to Kickoff Kevin. Thanks to Reed, who's leaving in a few weeks. Dang, Reed's out of here. Reed's moving to St. Louis.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
He's gone?
Yeah, he's leaving the job. Like, Reed's been with me for how many years? 5? Yeah, 5 years. But my guy travels with me. So Reed's out, getting married. So he's moving
Wow.
to St. Louis. His wife's, fiance.
Well, congratulations.
Be a doctor.
We wish you nothing but the best.
We're going to forget him as soon as he's out of here. But it's cool right now.
We'll still give you some shout outs.
Yeah, thanks to Bruce Buffer for coming on. We appreciate you guys, and that's it for this week. I don't know. I got nothing else to say.
Nothing to say.
Nothing to say.
But we usually have lots to say.
Boom, and we're out. See you guys.